Do you ever feel stuck in the rat race? Life doesn't have to be that way if you're willing to put in the work. In Bigger Vision, Chris Garrison helps you discover the keys to abundance, freedom, and personal growth that let you live the life of your dreams. And now, here's your host, Chris Garrison.
If you're not maintaining, then you are degrading. I don't care what you're talking about in life, maintenance is involved and required if you want it to be able to perform at optimal performance. Whether you're talking about your relationship, you're talking about your business, you talk about a piece of equipment, or you talk about your body. Everything requires and needs maintenance. So that is why the topic today is how to maintain success, because I believe that too often, especially us entrepreneurs, is we get distracted by new opportunities. And as soon as we move our attention away from it, if we don't have someone replacing that same attention that we're removing, then it won't be maintained. Therefore, it will not produce what it was producing when you had focus on it. Because when you're focusing on something, you notice the imperfections. You notice when there's a glitch in the operation. You notice when something needs to be adjusted, especially if you've got a growing company. So what is some of the things that are required for you to maintain a company? And I believe this can go across all of the other previous things I mentioned, like your health, your relationships, all of the other aspects of life. But let's focus on business. And let's say communication would be number one. And then that communication, there's going to need to have collaboration, which is another form of communication, and then scheduling. Because many times we will identify something's wrong, never collaborate about it, or we'll identify it, collaborate about it, and then it never gets assigned to a calendar event so that we have a time and a place for it to take place. So, the first question you should be doing is asking why. Why do we do this? Why is this happening? Why is such a powerful word when it comes to maintaining a business? Because it is a word that provokes thought. And anytime you have thought provoked, at that point, you're going to really put reasoning behind. One thing I tell my staff, my leadership is, when you're giving instructions on something and you're trying to train, don't just give them a direction or an instruction to do, but make sure you back it up with a why. I need you to perform this task this way because this is what happens if we do it, and this is what happens if we don't do it. What are the pros and what are the cons? And you should have a why behind everything. One of the most impactful times that I remember when I've been in training classes is when the trainer, the teacher would sit there and ask a question, I would answer, and then it was followed right back up with why. He wanted to know, or she wanted to know, why I came about my answer. Like, back it up, give me some justification, don't just throw something out there. Which, if I can give you the why behind I answer or do something, then I'm probably very thoughtful before I take that action, which means it's going to be a more productive action than if I had just responded without being able to give you justification, which is that why, the answer to why. The next thing, after you've got the why and you really start to bring out that curiosity and start to poke holes in things that you're currently doing or poking holes in results that you're getting back, then you're going to have a meeting with your leadership or maybe with the whole company, depending on the topic. One thing I like as we're moving through our day is we use a Group Me app. That's what it's called. And it allows my entire company to communicate internally about the company as a whole. So if something breaks, they'll put it in the Group Me app so everybody gets to see it. And everybody's aware and nobody's left in the dark. So it really heightens the communication process. If someone's going to be late, if someone is out sick, everything internally about the company as a whole gets communicated in this Group Me app. If we're talking about a job, then it's going to be put into the private notes of our CRM system. But as a company, we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to know what's going on. And with this communication, it allows us to collaborate better. And then we can come into a meeting setting around a table and we can discuss some of the issues. So if in this GroupMe app, we're constantly seeing that they're showing up late for jobs, or a bunch of people are saying they're coming in late periodically throughout the month, this would be a discussion that we can communicate. Hey, what's going on? We've noticed that there's an uptick in people arriving late in the morning. Can y'all give me explanations? Do we need to set an alarm earlier at home? Are y'all getting caught by the train? Is it a school bus pickup problem that's making you late? Like, let's get to the root of the problem so that we can solve it. This is why collaboration is so important, and making sure your communication is very easy to do. Another thing is in the past, we've had tools, specifically hoses, that were busting quite often. And I would just see, hey, we got another line broke, another line busted. And we had just recently ordered a new set of hoses, and I realized this was probably all of that new order. So it made me go back and check the branding of that hose material to make sure it wasn't a different brand that we got sent, because it seemed like the timelines of its lifetime was not as long as the previous order of all of these hoses. So communication can be such a key factor, and it is a must in maintaining anything. If you'll think about your personal relationship, if you're not communicating well, then before you know it, you are at two different places, you and your spouse, or you and your kids, or whoever you might be talking to, your business partner, and you don't even know what the other person is thinking because it's not being spoken verbally, it's not being wrote in an email, there's just no communication. So make sure you communicate the good and the bad so that mountains of disruption don't come into place that can't be corrected. And then after we get this collaboration, at that point, we're able to solve the issue. We come up with new ideas, and it allows us to really address movement towards success instead of running around the same problems over and over again. And I think this is probably the biggest thing that individuals, that businesses miss out, large and small, because we get a gap in communication and asking why and collaborating and then really solving it. I love how the EOS system, the entrepreneurial operating system, they have a level 10 meeting, and they really do set you up for success if you'll follow that format. It's a 60-minute meeting, and they sit there and they have a recap of what your meeting was the prior meeting, and it's a 5-minute recap. Then they go over their progress for about 5 minutes on those topics from last time. And I forget the couple other steps, but the biggest meat of it is the issues portion. So everybody brings up the issues, and then you drill down. Instead of letting it be a surface issue where people are casting blame, you drill down to the root of the problem so that you can actually solve it. And then once you find out the root and you come up to a solution for the problem, that solution gets assigned to someone. And that assignment also has a results date assigned to it as well. So you got a person and a date that's put on it. And I think this is where we miss it a lot of times. We'll ask the question why, we will communicate, we will collaborate, but then it stops right there. There's no implementation. We never actually get it assigned to someone and stick it on the calendar so that there's an expectation of when the results will be achieved. So make sure you're not only asking why, and then you're not only communicating within the whole organization and then collaborating about anything that's got room for improvement or issues that need to be corrected, but also make sure it's being assigned to someone and it's being stuck on the calendar so that you can follow up with it and give it accountability. That's where most organizations miss out. A bunch of thought goes into it, time is put in, efforts put into it, and then it's never assigned a deadline and a person to execute, and therefore it drops and never gets picked up. I want you guys to have success in life. I want you guys to have success in business. If you want to plug into more business operational content, then look us up on Blue Collar Millionaire Facebook group, where me and my partner Kevin Marin, we have live interviews every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and highly successful individuals that come on. It's pretty fascinating, the information you'll be able to pull from different types of folks. I learn every single week we do the interview. And this podcast is going to be ending within probably the next 30 days. And we're going to transition over to a Blue Collar Millionaire podcast where me and Kevin actually sit on this and collaborate all about business, specifically blue collar service-based businesses. So if you've enjoyed this show, please give me a 5-star review and leave me some comments, and be looking out for the episode where I announce the finale and get you guys transitioned over. Super excited about mine and Kevin's podcast we're about to have started. I know it's going to bring a lot of value to your life. It's going to bring a lot of success, and it's going to help you scale your business so that you truly can have wealth that you will be able to live the lifestyle that you want to live. Until next time, let's live in success.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.